Welcome into Game Changers.
Nice shirt, Mike.
What's that?
Nice shirt.
Thank you.
Dressed up this week.
So did you. What happened?
Well, I always dress up.
I don't dress up. You know me.
Correct.
I come like this.
Right.
I come as I am.
You come as you are. And we wouldn't want you any other way.
Well, I can think of a few things he can tweak.
What you see is what you get.
Oh, really?
He can tweak a couple things.
Let's get into it.
I'll get to that later in the show. That's in the third segment.
Third segment.
Yeah, what can Bo tweak?
Third segment, Third segment, we're playing studs and duds. I hope you don't end up on the duds.
You could be the dud.
I could be a stud, though.
You could.
Well, you're definitely a stud.
You know what? I'm going to change my stud.
Okay.
Yeah. Kimbo Camper. We'll see.
I got two studs with me right here.
All right. Well,
I thought your stud was going to be Jason Sanders.
I mean, he was booming 56-yarders at practice.
Call him Boomer. There
you go. All right. Let's talk about someone we hope is a stud for the Miami Dolphins. That's Odell Beckham Jr. We're finally starting to see him doing some workout on the side at practice. I mean, he hasn't run routes or anything yet. It's been a while. But people have been comparing him to Will Fuller on Twitter, saying this is, he's probably just taking the payday here. I don't think that's the case with him, but he was clapping back at fans this week, saying, you don't know what's going on in the building. The people in the building certainly do. So, guys, at what point do you think, and I'll start with you, what point do you think we see Odell Beckham in the Dolphins?
I don't know if we ever see him on game day. Look, Odell Beckham is a great name. First 3 years, obviously great, all pro kind of a guy, and then he's been on probably he's been on 5 different teams, I believe, right?
Something like that.
So if he's been on 5 different teams, why doesn't one of those teams want to keep him for 2 years? He comes and he goes. He's hurt, and then he gets in with the Rams, plays in the Super Bowl, gets a Super Bowl ring, plays well there, and then he goes away.
He blew out his knee, so he's going to miss a year anyway.
I'm not so sure. I understand that. I'm not so sure he would rather be at the Met Ball than spring training or than training camp, or be on the Emmys, or being in the middle of a football game. I don't know. He seems like a celebrity guy here. And look, he's been here for a long time. They signed him in the middle of the offseason. And we didn't see him the first week or so. And now over the last week, he's coming out and he's running sprints by himself, not participating in anything, not really even being with the team. So I don't know what's going on with him. I'm not going to speculate with him, but until I see him on the field, I'm not going to believe that we're going to see him on the field. I want to see, you can tell me all you want, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's working with the trainer. Until I see him on the field with a helmet on and pads, I'm not going to count on him being there.
Goldie?
I didn't know Bo had all those shadow Twitter accounts, so you were the one that was throwing that stuff out.
Hey, I go undercover every now and then, Goldie.
There's a few things. First of all, once you start arguing with people on Twitter, you've lost. There is no reason for him to be doing that. And how many people, somebody just threw out the name Will Fuller, who took the $10.2 million, played 2 games.
Took the bait. He took the bait.
I understand what Bo's saying. Everybody else is out there sweating. Everybody's going through stuff. There's pulled, there's soft tissue stuff. It's 150 degrees out there. And I did see him out there. Now, maybe the whole Twitter thing that you bring up, interesting, because yesterday and on Thursday he was out there. Maybe that kind of motivated him a little bit. Here's my thing with a guy like Odell. If you're going to go all the way, which this team has the promise of doing, there's no chance he's playing 23 games anyway. And that's how many you have to play. So the slow ramp up to me is no big deal if he wasn't the guy, as Bo said, that's bounced around and hasn't played all the games. But you know what? If Odell Beckham Jr. has some nagging things and he ramps up and he gets in there, and by October, with 12 games left, he's a factor in those third down situations, which is all he's going to be. He's going to be a 30, 35 catch guy at the most, and that's it. I'm okay with that, but I understand your point. Show me.
If he goes in, I don't see him being more than a 20, 22 catch guy.
Okay.
Because he's not going to be.
It seems like he's going to miss some games
anyway. He's not going to be in the first month.
At
this point, he can't be in the first month. I would be surprised.
Big impact.
And let me ask you a question. Can we stop calling it Twitter? It's X.
It's X. I apologize.
Can you grow up a little bit,
Bo on X.
Come on.
Bo on X.
I want to be appropriate when I'm on social media. It's X, not Twitter.
I don't blame you.
So
you can tweet on X.
You can tweet on X.
Well, if you type in twitter.com, it takes you to X.
Oh, it does?
Yes.
So ergo.
Ergo. Look at you.
His brother's in studio.
Yeah, Bo's got his brother in town.
He's showing off.
He's got impressive. He's a wordsmith all of a sudden.
I wouldn't have been
worried. The brains of the business.
I wouldn't have been that worried about the Odell situation until I think Tua's comments, where he's kind of like, "Hey, I'm going to talk about the guys who are actually
there you go.
out here."
Let me tell you,
that gives me a little cause for
the biggest factor in all of this was not Odell Beckham. I think it was phenomenal that Tua is now comfortable enough as a leader. And I'm not going to use the words call him out, but that's great. He didn't come out and say, well, everybody's on their own program. You do what you... No.
Yeah.
I need to see you out there. It's actually hampering things. At some point, you got to run around and catch the
talk
football.
about you until you're out here, like Bo said.
Right on line. 2-9. Until I see you out there, I don't believe you're going to be out there.
The two of you have always been right on line.
You're right. You know that.
Well, except that paycheck now. Tua's got a little...
He's catching up to Bo.
Yeah.
He's catching up to Bo.
Well, I got to get 35 more jobs, and then I'll be near him.
All right, let's
or 55 more years of working, and then you catch up.
Let's talk a little bit more wide receiver drama. Should we? Tyreek Hill this week on Up and Adams, K. Adams show was asked about Noah Lyles, the world's fastest man, technically, I guess, until he gets sick.
Yeah.
He was asked if he could beat him in a race. And Tyreek was like, yes, I would beat Noah Lyles. He also said, Noah Lyles, stop talking about football, only talk about track and field.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, Noah Lyles, he came out saying, I'm a world champion.
Yes.
The NFL is a one country league.
Yeah.
But I would say that if you took the NFL, you couldn't find another country in the world that would compete with the NFL. So I would give Tyreek that.
So my question here is because we'll never know. Tyreek Hill ran a sub 1000 meter. So does Noah Lyles. Like, we'll never actually see these two race. It'll never happen. Not in their prime anyway. But my question to you guys is, after all the Olympics and stuff, is there an athlete you would like to maybe try another sport? And I'll set you up here. There was a picture of Victor Wembanyama trying to block Steph Curry's shot in the gold medal game. And I just kept thinking, if I was a volleyball coach, I am asking Victor Wembanyama to play on my volleyball team in the Olympics. Do you ever wonder what it would look like and maybe who that athlete would be to put someone in another sport and think they might be successful?
I automatically go to the decathlon guy. Can do a little bit of everything, runs, jumps, distance, got all that type of thing. It used to be that the guy that won the decathlon was deemed the greatest athlete in the world, right?
Yeah.
So why not have the greatest athlete in the world try it? But look, the shot put guys, I think there's a shot put guy that's on one of the teams now, an Olympic shot put guy that's on one of the teams now, and he's trying out for that football team. He looks pretty good.
Right.
And so, those big strong guys, the rugby guys, but I say the decathlete. The best athlete in the world.
A little bit of everything. You're old school Olympics. Goldie, do you got a guy?
I like.
What do you want, the breakdancing champion to be on there?
Well, there's a lot of controversy in that.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah. By the way, how is baseball and softball not in the Olympics?
I know.
Yeah.
And breakdancing is?
I know.
Anyway, I do like when the track guys take a shot at it. Willie Gault kind of worked.
Yeah.
Ronaldo Nehemiah, remember him? Did not work. I think it's fascinating.
Bob Hayes worked.
So I think that, a speed person
can make the jump.
Yeah, I feel like if they've got, you still have to have some skill in. The biggest thing is you got to be able to take a hit. That's the most intriguing thing to me.
Right.
Noah Lyles, no disrespect to him. Tyreek Hill's doing it with pads on and people chasing him, trying to knock him into into next week. Another one there though, like the Tua thing with Odell, I just love that Tyreek's got that in him.
Oh no,
he's got
absolutely.
that attitude.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think every team needs people like that. So you definitely have Tyreek like that, and Tua's getting a little bit
not
more.
short on confidence. You would need a pole vaulter to jump over Tyreek Hill's confidence.
By the way, the guy broke a world record. This guy from Sweden.
Yeah.
An American guy playing for. How did he jump for Sweden?
Dual citizenship.
Okay.
I believe you got dual citizenship. You can pick what you want.
No, you can do anything these days.
You're a big Olympics guy, Bo. I like it.
I did like the Olympics.
Big Little League baseball. When the Little League World Series comes around,
I'm
on it.
He loves it.
I just got.
Did you like Danny Almonte?
I just got finished watching the girls Little League World Series.
The women's
fast pitch softball. Girls.
Yeah.
It's called
young.
Girls.
Girls.
Okay.
Yes, young girls.
Yeah.
You know what the problem with Danny Almonte was?
Too big.
When he had 4 beers and drove his car out of the game, they knew he was overage. Like, what's going on? Some of those kids, man, they ain't 12.
He used to pick up the whole team and bring them to the game, right?
He got to shave before he gets out there on the field. All right, still to come.
Join an AARP before the tournament's over.
Just a reminder, before we move on here, don't forget to check out Dolphins Weekly Live on CBS Miami Sundays, 11:30 a.m. Join me and the rest of the guys as we break down what's happening around the Dolphins. This week, of course, we'll recap the Dolphins-Commanders preseason game and look ahead to their week in Tampa. All right, coming up on Game Changers.
I got to remember Commanders. It's going to be tough.
Yes.
I got I'm going to write it big letters in front.
I'll make a big card and I'll hang it in the booth.
Good luck.
Poster size.
We're talking about the Canes next. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Game Changers. No one loves a good hype train quite like we do here, and it's starting again. The Miami Hurricanes, is the U back? That's the question. The AP preseason top 25 poll came out, and the Hurricanes, yes, the U, ranked 19th.
Yeah.
They went 7-6 last year, lost 4 of their last 5 games, and here they are ranked 19th. Most of the time, guys, I think this is just a setup for that first week of the season. They're going to play Florida, add a little hype to it, but Florida's not ranked.
No, yeah, Florida's not very good this year.
So that can't be it. Everyone, all these national pundits, Goldie, are saying they are the most underrated team in the underrated at 19 because of their talent. Are you buying that underrated tag that a lot of the national guys are giving now?
From a talent standpoint, 100%.
Yeah.
Plus, they got a quarterback.
Right.
I mean, this guy, Cam Ward, is dynamic. He can do everything. He can tuck it and run. He can throw it. And, Mario's done a great job of recruiting. So they do have a ton of talent. I think the only reason, if you look at the talent level, the only reason they're 19th is because they've blown games over the last few years. And are they going to be able to bring all that talent together? Otherwise, talent-wise, they should even be higher than 19th. But it really doesn't matter because they got to go to Gainesville on the 31st and win that game either way. They have no choice.
The last 10 or 15 years, they've blown 3 or 4 games, it seems like, every year that they should not have.
Sounds like the Dolphins a little bit. I'm just going to say that in passing. Just in passing. But look, when you look at that UM team right now, offensive line-wise, they look like an NFL offensive line. They've got a great defensive line. I mean, a great defensive line.
They get to the quarterback.
And a great coach. They get to the quarterback. They've got a great quarterback. They've got great athletes. So I think as an athlete like you, I'm with you. I would put them maybe in the top 5 as far as the talent that they've got on that football team. But you still got to coach them. And you got to coach them right.
Yeah.
And you can't be, making mistakes as a coach that brings your football team down. And so to me, what kind of brings them down to 19 is, can this coaching staff do what they need to do on game day with clock stuff and different things like that? Can they manage the game properly to get a very talented team into the playoffs? That's the question I've got for them.
I think they're going to out-talent a lot of teams, especially
I believe
early.
that.
Once they get past Florida, and I think they're going to beat Florida. I think it's going to be a close game, which will be good for Florida in the end. It'll look like
you got FAMU coming up soon after that, right?
The schedule for Miami is not very hard, so I think they'll outclass just about most people this early part of their schedule. But yes, once it comes down to nitty-gritty, can they finally make the ACC title game again? Can they finally win the ACC? I agree. It's going to come down to coaching, whether they can do it. But man, this is set up.
They're loaded.
This is set up for a special year to come for the rest of the country to just come out of nowhere.
I would say their talent is getting back to when you had the Michael Irvins and you had the Melvin Brattons and you had the Alonzo Highsmiths and you had all those guys, the Darren Crines, all those guys, that made up those teams. I think they've got close to as much talent as they had back then. See if they can make it work.
This is my big problem with the Canes is when we say the good old days.
Big problem is you're an FSU guy. That's your biggest problem.
And we're still mentioning those.
I get it.
You can go to the early 2000s too.
But even then,
Willis McGahee.
Even then, right. It's been a long.
Ken Dorsey.
You can't go back 5 years and say, man, remember those Canes guys?
You can't even go back to. You don't want to go back 10 years.
No.
You go back 5 before you go back 10, probably. Sadly enough.
All right, we'll see if the Canes end up being studs this year on the field. We are going to play Studs and Duds, a new segment here on Game Changer.
It's going to be a regular segment here or what?
How do you spell Cunyo so I can write it down?
For the stud part?
You have to stay tuned for that.
What a tease. Welcome back to Game Changers. We got the whiteboards out, and last week when we brought the whiteboards out, I think Bo Camper won.
I dominated.
Although there's some controversy in our sports department.
A lot of controversy.
Saying that the broke bowl or the broke ballpark answer
broke ballpark.
Right. Should have won. But I'll make a determining factor, and Bo won with his Kepka Cup.
Why do you make the determining factor?
You know what it is?
Who gave you that?
It's a show.
Right.
He did create it. He does host it.
Yeah.
You're
on my bad side today, Goldie. That's
you don't like this show, blame Cunha.
Exactly. Well, you did. You're the host.
Thanks.
And you thought of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that accurate?
Right. So my ruling.
Uncle Leo didn't think of it back there.
Moving on. So Bo, studs and duds. We're doing studs and duds in the NFL now that preseason's kind of winding down.
I love this.
Who are your studs?
Okay, I'm gonna start with my stud, and I'm going to kind of lower it here. So
I like
my
that.
stud is, I got to get that one down.
Oh, okay.
Look, he's the number 1 player in the National Football League. He's on our team. He's a Miami Dolphin. Number 10, I'm taking Tyreek Hill as the number 1 stud in the National Football League. And then everyone else is standing in line behind
Odell's number 3, by the way. You got the number wrong.
No, he's 38.
Years old?
No, on the team.
Oh, on the team. Okay, who's your dud?
Aaron Rodgers.
Of course it is.
First of all, he's wearing the Garris green of the New York Jets, which make me puke every time I look at him. And you know what? I look at him now, and he looks like he's 20 years older than he was last year when he popped his Achilles. And I'm not wishing any undue thing on. I just think he's going to have a horrendous season, and that Jet defense is going to play as well as they did last year, and they're going to still be in the bottom of the AFC East, looking up, and they're going to be pointing at Aaron Rodgers. Why'd we pay you all that money? That's my deal.
Wow.
They handed him the keys to the franchise.
They did.
I think the Jets are actually going to have a pretty good year.
Okay.
I'm just going to go out and say it.
It's fine.
Yeah, like
look,
9-10 wins.
when he's dead and buried by game 4 in the season, remember who said it, right?
You couldn't resist. You said, I don't want to wish anything bad on anybody, but you couldn't resist.
When he's dead and buried.
He kind of takes me to the woodshed.
Barely. He didn't even twist your arm on it.
By the way, he made it the top 100 ranked players, and
which
played
is
like
ridiculous.
And he didn't even play last year.
Who was it? Was it the guy in
Jalen Johnson?
in Chicago?
Yeah.
That was saying, you got a guy in the top 100 that didn't even play last year.
He got the top 100. He only played 3 more snaps than Cunha.
That's how good he is. That's how good he is. Goldie?
Well, it's a little insight that originally when it was sent to me via text, there was an S at the end of studs and duds.
Yeah.
So I actually took a little time because I figured, I need 2 or 3 of these.
Oh.
So to let you know, Aaron Rodgers was on my list.
Beautiful. See?
But I had to pare it down to 1. So my dud are the Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh, beautiful.
Okay, because of everything going on there with the contracts and CD Lamb and the owner and the coach. And you know what? The Dallas Cowboys, it is incredible. You think they've got like 4 Super Bowls and they win 12 games. They're a 500 team over the last 20 years, but they're talked about so much.
Yeah. They're not 500 team the last 2 or 3 years.
Well,
they win more games than regular season.
Not in the playoffs, ask Jordan Love. So they got blown out. So I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys. I think finally all the contract stuff, all the uncertainty catches up to them. And I do think the division will be a little bit, I think the Giants and Commanders are going to be okay this year as opposed to terrible. So we know Philly's good. My stud is my man who I thought all along, that's right, Jalen Wright, for the Miami Dolphins, who had the huge game, the huge preseason game. All the players are talking about this guy. I love Raheem Mostert. He's the starter. Devon Achane is in there, but Mike McDaniel is going to make this a 3-headed group at running back.
I agree with that.
I think he's going to be split out wide at times. I think this is the guy. Mike's first year, he brought Raheem with him from San Francisco. Second year, they draft Devon Achane. Now you got a guy that's kind of all of them wrapped up in one. I think he's going to explode in the NFL, despite limited touches, because you have the other 2 guys that are great players.
All right, I'm curious what your dissension is on that, but Uncle Leo's in my ear saying, Cunha, get to yours.
Okay,
so my stud, Caleb Williams. I know you were going to go. You were going to go the Chicago. I'm all in on the hype train with him.
Yeah.
With Hard Knocks.
You're enjoying Hard Knocks.
I'm loving it.
You like the blue or the pink fingernails with him?
I like the purse.
Okay.
The dud, the Jets.
You just said the Jets were going to be good.
Yeah, no, the offseason, right now. Listen.
There you go.
Listen.
You just said the Jets are going to be good.
Listen. This guy's going to be great. Caleb Williams is going to be great.
I love him.
But when it comes to the Jets, like this week when they have to put a press release out after a player says we demanded a trade, and then they have to put out we're not trading you, that was my favorite thing of the week. And that was the most Jets thing ever.
But this is for the upcoming season.
But
you just told Bo they're going to be a good team.
And they are going to be a good team.
So how are they a dud?
Yeah,
they're a dud right now.
It's your game, I think.
Right now. To this moment, they're a dud.
I think it's your game, and you got it wrong.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Come on.
If it's my game, then it's right.
Well, that's true, too.
Okay.
You can do what you want.
It's not Jalen right, but
Uncle
it's right.
Leo's not happy. We got to go to break.
Let's go.
We're wrapping up Game Changers on the other
Leo.
side. I never do. Welcome back to Game Changers. You know, Goldie mentioned something earlier, and I want to swing back around to it.
No idea what I mentioned.
Breakdancing at the Olympics.
Oh, breakdancing. Okay. Yeah.
You go with this or no? I mean, it was weird.
I don't know where you're going, so it's good.
Did you like it?
No, it's not an Olympic sport. Not when you don't have baseball and softball.
So you're going to have
That was an Olympic
so you're
sport.
You're going to have dancing, break dancing in the Olympics. What's next? You have a Broadway play?
You might as well.
You put a Broadway play on there, and who gets the gold medal for? Every country puts a play on.
That's a
and
hobby.
you give them a medal.
That's a hobby and an art. It's not an athletic competition.
No one knows what they're watching. That's my biggest problem.
I love breakdance. I used to watch them in the streets in New York in the 80s. It's great, but it's not an Olympic
Right, but
sport.
you don't know
it's
what
not
the
breakdown
scoring
unless they
is,
put a
what it
piece of
matters.
cardboard down.
That's right.
That's what I
right.
say.
Remember
And you got to have the
Yeah.
boom box with
That's
you.
right.
Yeah.
The big
The
boom
old
box
boom
standing
box.
like
And a
that.
little- and a
little
You got one
cup
guy
where you
standing
throw
over
some
there like
change.
that. You got a piece of
Tips.
cardboard on the ground.
Exactly. Where
Right
you
on the
entertain?
asphalt.
Throw me a few
Come on.
bucks.
Right. You know, you guys swung me on something the other day, a couple weeks ago, on the
Really?
sports where you have to have a judgment for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's different.
Yeah,
no
no.
scoreboard.
No.
Right.
It's a whole different ball game when there's no scoreboard.
And now there's a whole controversy
Yeah.
with gymnastics.
That's why there's controversy.
who got the bronze on that one? It's still
No,
up in the air?
they're
It's a
fighting
coin
it.
toss?
They're fighting it.
Why don't they just give them two? Just give each one
No,
of them
that
one.
means 4 people won medals. I can't do that.
Right.
Only 2 people won
Gold,
the,
silver, bronze, end of
What
story.
is it?
in
What
bo-
is this,
in
though?
boxing,
The
they only gave a
participation
gold and a
trophy
bronze.
era?
They didn't give a silver out in boxing, so. Or
You don't give the
silver.
practice squad guys NFL salaries, do you?
You should.
There you go.
They make more than I used to make.
Well, that's true. They make more than we do make.
Say hi to Blake Ferguson.
Hey, Blake.
See, you should have been a long snapper. You could have lasted.
They were only making $10,000 when I was playing.
That's gonna do it for us
Now they're
on
making
Game
$2
Changers.
million.
We're gonna see if we can find this guy another paycheck.
I need some more
make
money
up for
coming.
his time. Make up for his time.
I need more
in the
cash
NFL.
flow.
No,
Don't forget me,
you got
brother.
enough jobs.
I got family in town. I need cash flow.
You got enough jobs. Yeah, thanks to our studio audience, Neil Bokamper. Round of applause for him. We'll see you next week, and shout out to Bam Adebayo in the U.S. Olympics.
Great job by him.
Yeah, he did a
Awesome.
great job. Congrats, and we'll see you next week.